Aloha mai kako, a Komamida curtain call from a distance, a program of reviews, previews, interviews, and features of and or with the great art and artists on Maui and beyond. I'm Paul James Brown, and I'm coming to you from my home office, where I have been conscientiously practicing self-isolation. This week is going to be a potpurri curtain call. First, I want to share with everyone what our teenage octogenarian Thomas Sewell has been up to lately. Mr. Sewell has had a love affair with the sugar mills for more than 2 decades. As I pointed out last week when I reviewed his collaboration with the great Russian cellist Georgy Gusev, when his Enigma of the Mill opened in July 2006, I said, quote, "In this reviewer's opinion, it's the most important artistic event in the history of the Maui Arts and Cultural Center's Schaefer International Gallery. Mr. Sewell is among Maui's most inventive, original, and consistently fascinating artists. He has worked to unravel the mystery of the mills. He is an artist in the mold of Man Ray and Marcel duChamp, but his vision is more acute and immediately accessible. Where duChamp, whose most famous work, Fountain, an upside-down urinal, was outrageous, Sewell has a twinkle in his eye and a keen sense for beauty, which he shows us exists in the most unlikely places," unquote. Mr. Sewell obtained parts and steel plates from the Paia and Pu'unene mills that were about to be melted down and sold as scrap. He paid Alexander and Baldwin scrap price, and then he's repurposed them into art. In a sense, much of it is, quote, found art, unquote. James Milanek, Sr., has been Mr. Sewell's video editor since 2005. He works on Mr. Sewell's photographic and video projects, including some of the short videos on his blog, tomsewell.com website, and video components of Mr. Sewell's Art Maui works. Mr. Milanek came to Maui after a quarter century in the television broadcast industry and has been a collaborator with Mr. Sewell on monumental sculptures that I referred to as Louise Nevelson on steroids. Mr. Sewell is an opera lover. Recently saw Franco Zeffirelli's production of Nabucco at the Metropolitan Opera. Inspired by that production, he designed the entrance to his studio based on it. He took time-lapse video of the construction and then had Mr. Milanek assemble a video with some of Verdi's splendid music from the opera. Here are excerpts from that. Not satisfied with that project, Mr. Sewell recently became the proud tenant of an amazing studio gallery space in the abandoned Pu'unene Mill. The former tractor shop is 17,000 square feet in floor space. It will be the place where he creates and displays his monumental works of art. I had the opportunity to visit the space, and here's a little peek at what this Sewell sanctuary is and just use your imagination as to what it will become. As you can hear from Mr. Gusev's playing, the space has a marvelous acoustic. Mr. Sewell wanted me to be sure to let my viewers know that the space is not a public space, but Mr. Sewell said it could be visited by appointment only. Mr. Sewell is also working in close collaboration with the Sugar Museum's executive director, Jill Pridemore, and its board president, Doug Sheehan, to place some of his artwork there. Another venue I want to talk about is the Maui Coffee Attic. Since the pandemic began in March, among the hardest hit are our amazing musicians. Prior to the pandemic, they found ample work at the hotels, restaurants, and drinking establishments, along with many private and corporate gigs. When this pandemic hit, all that work disappeared, including Maui's most perfect place for outstanding music, the Maui Coffee Attic. The proprietor, John Henry, who is a real music lover, wanted to continue having music, and he came up with the idea to do a live stream from 5 to 7 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. Buzz FM agreed to sponsor the event, and 5 months ago, the redoubtable Kathy Collins and Jack Gist, who pinch hits for Kathy, took over the helm, and we have great live music again, albeit virtual. Only band members and tech people are allowed in the attic, which is actually in the basement. Mr. Henry has set up a small socially distanced seating section outside the performance area for a few people to enjoy the concerts live. The musicians have the opportunity to receive donations through Venmo and PayPal, and Mr. Henry makes this entire project available to the musicians without charge. So if you want coffee, great pastries, or a terrific lunch or breakfast entrees, they serve breakfast all day. See Mr. Henry's wife, Gwen. She is the genius behind the food. They are open for eat-in and takeout. Also, Mr. Gusev will be doing another coffee attic on September 25th, so look for that. Here is a taste of his performance there last week. Tune into the Coffee Attic Facebook page Fridays and Saturdays, 5 to 7 p.m. to hear some really great music, and please support Maui's music community. They need us now more than ever. Mahalo nui loa. Well, that's Curtain Call from a Distance for this week. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Paul James Brown. Ahui ho.